So now we are starting unit 2, project planning. So in unit 2, we have project planning and software effort estimation. And in unit 3, we'll be having activity-wise planning. So this project planning deals about the overall project plan. And activity planning is for each task, how we are planning the activities to carry out the whole project. Okay, so now we are going to see how the overall project planning can be done. The procedural activities. So it is proved that if we follow all these step by step procedures in an official way, then the success of the project is guaranteed somehow. So that is the idea. So quickly we shall see how the stepwise project planning activities can be carried out. The first step obviously is selecting the project. So this will be done through feasibility study. Till now in unit 1, what we have seen as a feasibility study, like applying several measures, all profit cost benefit calculation and all. And finally, we are deciding whether to take up the project or to drop it. And next is identifying the project scope and objectives, and then identify the project infrastructure, then analyze the project's characteristics, identify project products and activities, estimate effort for each and every activity, identify activity-wise risks, allocate resources for each of these activities, review plan if required. So up to this step, we made some plan, and if required, activity-wise risks are identified and resources are planned. So now in this case, if we want to revise the plan, then we can revise. Once it is finalized, we can publicize the plan among the stakeholders. This is the idea how we are going to carry out the project. And we can start executing the plan. And if required, where and all the control measures we have to apply, some revisions in the plan, those things that is parallelly to be carried out while tracking the project. So for each of these steps, what are all the minute level activities? That is the idea of this part. So we could see the overall control flow would be like this. So first we have to select the project. Then we have to identify project scope and objectives. This part is actually will become a part of the selecting the project. Even before finalizing whether to take up the project or not, we will be identifying the scope of the project and objectives. And based on that measure of effectiveness, all those things only we will be deciding whether to select the project or not. Then we have to identify a suitable project's infrastructure, on which platform we are going to develop, everything related to carrying out the project. Everything we have to identify, whether do we have enough person to develop in the language, new technology which it requires. Whether our existing employees have enough knowledge on this technology, likewise, all those things. A complete study they have to make and analyze the characteristics of the project. So this part is to be carried out considering the scope and objective and also the available infrastructure. So all these put together required to finalize the decision on selecting the project. So even after to take up the project, then they have to revise the scope and objective based on the available infrastructure and based on the analysis they made on the project characteristics. So that will be refined. So this step took some enough time to finalize. And after that, they will be identifying the products and activities. Product means what are all the intermediate deliverables we'll be giving. So if I am going to give, going to develop a student data management system. So that is the project means. Product means attendance management part. Okay, that will be released as a separate part likewise. Then as a add-on we can add up the remaining features one by one. So initially which is the most required, that part can be released first. So likewise they can define what are all the products, releasable products of the projects, and to carry out that what are all the activities, subtasks, so that they can identify. And then once all these subtasks are identified, they have to estimate effort for each activity. Each of the subtasks they have to identify, estimate the effort. Then for each of these activities, they have to think of what may be the risk in carrying out the activity. So if risks are identified, again we may revise the estimate based on the risk. So that may be done parallelly. Then once that is over, then we can allocate resources. How many people for each activity, how many person required, whether activity 1 and activity 2 can be done parallelly or one after the other. Likewise, all these things they have to draft, and how many systems, how many softwares, user licenses, so many things. All these they have to analyze at this point and they have to assign. And then they can review and publicize the plan. So they have reviewed enough, and that is the final plan means that can be publicized to the stakeholders, mainly to the developers. Then we have to show it to the management. In this way, we are going to carry out. The management agreed, yes, we can keep the plan. Based on that, the project managers has to track whether it is going as per the plan. So after that, if this phase is over, then we shall start executing the plan. And after execution, we cannot stop parallelly, like the project manager's job, because all these what we are studying in the project manager's perspective, okay, not in the developer's perspective. So once we have publicized the plan, now it is the turn of developer, project lead and developer. They have to carry it out, and we cannot say the project manager can go and take a big risk. No, so he has to keep on monitoring. So he has to give some checkpoints, milestones here and there. Like if it is a very delicate project, daily he has to review what it happened, what they did, what happened in the progress. If it is not that much delicate project, weekly once or 10 days once he can check. That is depending upon the project. And then while tracking, he may find out some lower level planning, so that can also be improved in the proper execution. So that can also be given as an input for each of these activities. Okay, while identifying the activity and while estimating the effort for the activity in some steps, even while identifying the activity risks. Okay, so these will help lower level plan. So that is a continuous one parallelly to be done along with the execution. So in step 1, as I told, it is completely based on feasibility study. Once the project is decided to take up, then it will come under the project portfolio. It will be added into that. So the further steps will carry out. So in step 1, project scope and objectives are to be done. They have to list the objectives and the measures of effectiveness in achieving them. We have seen already one example, the student data management system. For that, how to write the objective and how to write the measures of effectiveness for achieving that. So those things also we have listed. So likewise for any particular project, they can list, okay, in what way I can say this project will lead to a success, or this project is a successful project. What are all the measures based on, if report is coming correctly as expected, yes, that is one measure. Yes, the project, that objective is met, and the overall attendance percentage is coming properly immediately. Yes, next objective is met. That is one measure. And I can check whether student-wise percentage only is coming. Student-wise complete attendance details. Attendance like when and all he attended, when and all he didn't attend, likewise. That information is coming. Yes, that is another measure. Okay, so these measures can be listed. And if all these are correctly coming, then we can put as yes, this measure succeeded, this measure succeeded. If all the measures are succeeded, overall project is successful. So how much successful? Like individual student attendance is coming, but in some cases it is not expected, means only 80% correct, likewise. So in that way we have to measure it. Then we have to establish one project authority. So this authority may be a single person or team of people who will finally validate, yes, this is the project that has been expected, that has been asked, okay, to develop. So this, if it is a single authority, obviously the person who have given, the customer who have given that. Team means we can form a team like the project manager and customer side one people, because this is a very much important step. If we didn't establish who is the authority, something, if we want to do some changes, like you can think the real life analogy, building construction. Okay, for easiness, I am just switching over to the civil engineering example. A building is to be constructed, and the engineer, civil engineer who is monitoring the regular activity is actually carrying out. On top of him, there is a hierarchy. One more MD, managing director for that civil company is there, and who have assigned the project is the customer. So and the customer side, if it is a house, means only one people will be there. But if it is a public project like a mall, okay, constructing a mall, means a group of people will be there. Many people invested in that. Together we are constructing that. Many shops will be there in that. Okay, so many people will be there. If we didn't establish the authority, who is the final authority to decide, and the monitoring engineer is constructing, and he thinks that in south corner there should be one pillar, but while doing that he identifies that there is a big rock in the south side, so the pillar cannot be established in that place as per the plan. Okay, so what he is doing, he is calling his MD and telling that, sir, there is a big rock under the ground, and as per our plan, pillar cannot be placed here. Likewise, some discussion is going, and he is telling, if so, okay, without consulting the customer who is in charge that side, he is trying to contact, or without consulting he is giving means, again that will go wrong. Customer will come and say, no, I exactly want this, you just try to break the rock and all. So whatever may be, like they will be giving different, they may have different perspective originally what they want. So that should be correctly clarified. Around 10 people are there at the customer side who are all going to be the partners, and the main partner, the MD is trying to call. Main partner is not attending the call, and we have to decide today itself what to do. And we are talking to the second person. Second person says, okay, the first person may be busy, so I am deciding to change the pillar towards north side. Okay, so with some distance you can place the pillar. Accordingly you adjust all other plans, and after 2 days the main person comes and see, no, why you planned like this, why you didn't get concurrence from me, everything, change everything, break everything, repeat the repeat the procedure what you did likewise. He may tell like that. Okay, so that's again lead to a problem. So if the project authority is established, means the decision, final decision given by that people, confidently we can take up. If that is not taken up, perspectives may differ person to person. When if everything goes fine as per plan, no problem, nothing will happen. But if there are some issues, so in that case, each of us will give a different opinion, different ideas how to resolve that issue. So in that case, if authority is there, that person's decision will be final. So that is a very important point here. Who can finalize what to do? So for that reason, project authority is must. Then we can identify all sort of 360-degree stakeholders for all either directly or indirectly involving in that, getting benefit out of this project. And we can get stakeholders perspective of objective. In each of the stakeholders perspective, what they want to have. So that can be again incorporated in the final objective in the developer's perspective. Initial objective is created based on the developer's perspective. Then we have to refine it based on the stakeholders perspective. So we have to do analysis on all the stakeholders perspective, and finally which are all the things that can be done, because sometimes the customer may not know, he simply wants in this way I want, but developer only knows in practical which is possible, which is not possible, so that we can convince them and we can negotiate between them, then finalize the objective. And we have to establish methods of communication with all parties. So this is again one important thing, like to call the MD, what is the mode? Sending message itself is enough, or we have to call, or in what mode? Okay, what mode we have to do? The customer may tell you, sir, on that day itself I sent a message, but you didn't respond. So customer may scold. Simply sending message, is that enough? Why you didn't call likewise? So we may think that frequently calling that person may disturb them. So we might have given messages. Like previously we have established these are the modes of communication. On emergency, what is the mode of communication? On not emergency, what is the mode of communication? Everything should be clearly established. Then we can identify the project infrastructure. So we have to establish relationship between the project and the strategic planning. So that is to be done as part of establishing the infrastructure. Then identify the installation standards and procedures. Everything should be drafted. And we have to identify the project team and the organization, like where exactly we are going to establish this project. Then we can analyze the project's characteristics, whether it is objective driven project or product driven project. Based on the objectives, whether all these are met, in that way I am going to evaluate it, or whether all the required products are delivered or not. Okay, so based on the product level, I am going to measure the success, so that we can analyze, and accordingly the developing team should work. So other project characteristics, like other than the execution coding part. So what are all the other characteristics that are involved in developing the project? Those can also be analyzed, and identify high project risks, the topmost risks we have to identify, and to avoid those risks, what are all the precaution steps we can carry out? Those things we can do, and we can consider the user requirements regarding the implementation. So that can also be considered. Then we can select a general life cycle approach, like whether agile development model or XP programming model or waterfall model or iterative model, or which model on which what basis I'm going to develop this. Okay. And we can review the overall resource estimates. So we'll be considering analyzing all the characteristics, risks, and all everything we are analyzing here. So overall resource estimates to develop this complete project, totally 10 activities. For each activity, at least 2 people required means, do we have those many people available? Okay, without any other tasks, other project tasks. Likewise, do we have those many people? Likewise, those estimates, those many computers do we have? All those estimates. Okay, everything the project manager has to review. Then what are all the project products and sub activities? So that can be identified. So for like they want the attendance calculation module, so that is to be delivered as a first module, working module, and we have to describe it. What should be the input, what should be the output, likewise. Whether it is a web-based application or standalone desktop application or mobile application or some combination of something, what. So that description should be given for each identified product. Then it should be documented. Okay, we should document the generic product flow. First module, attendance percentage calculation module. Next module, student wise attendance report module. Next module, SMS to parent, that module. Likewise, the flow, which part is connected with which. So that complete flow can be documented, and recognizing the product instances. Okay, so that can be done. Then produce the ideal activity network. So we can identify what are all the subtasks, and after identifying the subtasks, which are all parallelly can be done, which activity can be done only all the previous activities are to be carried out, then only that activity, like testing can be done only full coding is completed. Without code completion we cannot start testing. Likewise, so that concurrency we can identify. Once it is identified, pictorially it can be represented using an activity network. Okay, so we'll be seeing in the forthcoming parts how to draw this activity network and how the project manager estimates the effort for each and every activity and how he will track it. So that we'll be seeing in the forthcoming sessions. Then so modify this ideal activity network to take into account need for stages and checkpoints. So that can be done. And estimating effort for each activity. So this also we'll be seeing in detail. So either we can do bottom up estimate or top down estimate. Bottom up estimate means for each small activity, what is the effort required? Then collectively we have to add everything. So that is bottom up. Top down means for the whole project, we can estimate, like for a building, totally 1500 square feet building means together an overall estimate you are making, like around 30 to 40 lakhs. Likewise, you are giving some estimation means that is 30 to 40 lakhs. Then you are making some split up from that. In that 30 lakhs, 5 lakhs is for this. Another 5 lakhs is for this. Another 5 lakhs is for this. Likewise, you are doing means that is top down. And from beginning, you are doing like for purchasing bricks, this much amount. For purchasing sand, this much amount. For purchasing cement, this much amount. The labor charges, this much. Likewise, you are planning and finally adding up everything and telling the total. Means that comes under bottom up estimate. Okay. So here already we have listed all the subtasks, and for each of the subtasks we are estimating effort and we are going to finally sum up. So this is going to be bottom up estimate. Okay. So we can revise plan according to the, so I am summing up everything and finally it is coming around 50 lakhs. But in my mind, the overall budget is around 30 to 40 means then I have to revise my plan. What are all the things that can reduce, that I can reduce, like controllable activities. Okay, so that we can derive. Then identifying the activity risks. Like initially I planned to purchase bricks from this so and so company, and there is a difficulty like that company is not going to deliver bricks for this small amount. They are delivering it only for the big projects, like in heavy quantity, not for the small house. So immediately that may be a risk. Okay, likewise, this is one small example, but risk may be in, like continuously rain is coming, corona is another risk. We have started constructing the building and corona came, lockdown came, no person is coming, everything stopped, but I purchased, I mean, I got loan from bank, this much money in hand, no activities carried out, but I have to pay interest to the bank. So many in different perspectives, risks may come. So we can identify and quantify activity-based risks. Okay. So the risk percentage, we have to exactly quantify it. It will affect 20%. It will affect 30%, 40% likewise. Or we can even say probability. This much chance is there for this risk to occur like this. And we can plan risk reduction and contingency measures where and all appropriate. Okay, precautions, all the precaution, risk reduction activities, so that we can plan. Like for this brick, that company stops giving brick for us means we have to have a another company already talked. We may get it from you likewise, some booking. Okay, in another company also likewise. Adjusting plans and estimates to take account of risks. So once risk and everything is identified, then we can adjust plans accordingly. Then we have to allocate resources. What are all the resources that may be required to do, and we can identify and allocate them. And if something is not enough, I thought 20 people may be there, but immediately 2 people wanted to relieve from this project. So that was not in my estimate. So immediately I have to recruit means that may take time. So only with the existing people I have to manage means then I have to revise plan and estimate. Then we have to review the plan once again based on all these considerations, risks, everything. Once it is finalized, we can publicize it. Okay, so all the quality aspects of the project plan can be reviewed thoroughly. Then we can document the complete plan. We can get approval from the authority, project authority. If it is a team means from all people, we can show this is the final plan. Is that okay for everybody? and this much amount will be spent, plus or minus, everything they will mention. Okay, so because we are predicting the estimate, so we are not God, we cannot exactly predict everything. So plus or minus something, so that we can mention in that. And this is the schedule, and this is the overall budget, and likewise everything during this period only we'll deliver it if everything goes normal. If something went wrong, then accordingly this may delay. Likewise everything will be mentioned in that agreement. Okay, then they can start executing. After the plan is publicized, they can start executing. People, allocated resources will be there, and using that resource, people have to develop that. And the project manager has to fix the checkpoints and milestones where and all he has to review. So that he has to do. And while reviewing that, he can do some lower level planning also, and accordingly he will inform to the developing team. So execution can be started and tracking the project's progress. So this may require reiteration of the planning process at lower level. So after 2-3 days of execution, as per plan, if something went wrong, we can fine tune it. We can reiterate, redo some part, or we can uh, allocate some more resources, or allocate some more people, or give training if they are not correctly doing it. Means extra training we have to give and ask them to do. So all these will come under execution of planning and revising it. Accordingly, the plan can also be revised. Okay. So this is all about stepwise project planning. All these steps are carried out one by one with caution. Like if big financial consideration is there for this project, for a very small project, no financial benefit is there, we don't need to follow. But uh, uh, unofficially, we are going to do all these, but we don't know that we are doing all these steps. Okay, but financial matters involved means it is very much essential that we have to do it procedurally, following all these steps, so that the final outcome will be towards success. And like 90%, 95%, 99%, we can achieve success. So that is the idea. So this is all about project, overall project plan.